Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the Iron-Blooded Orphans 1/100 scale Graze Custom. This kit is absolutely fantastic, so just go buy one. But just in case you did want to see a little bit more actually about the kit, I suppose I will do a full review here for you guys. I would also be remiss if I did once again forget to mention my very fine sponsor MindFenix Hobby Store for sending me this kit to share with you guys. I forgot to mention that in the unboxing, so feel bad about that. Anytime I forget to mention that, but yeah, just want to mention that here with some prominence here in the review video. It says, for any of you guys who are living in Australia, please do check out their site. So let's get on with it here. This, I think, is tied with the Graze, I think, or the Graze still might have just a little bit of an advantage because I'm sorry, not the Graze, the Grimgird. The Grimgird, I think, maybe might still have a little bit of an advantage as my favorite 1/100 scale kit from Iron-Blooded Orphans, but this one is either tied for first or a very close second. I think basically this is the regular Standard Graze kit was fantastic. There was a few things that I didn't quite like about it, and this kit shares those same small problems, but for the most part, all the extra stuff that you get with this kit more than makes up for that, and that's what makes this kit so great. It's got nice articulation, really fantastic not decals, I wish it had decals, details, really fantastic details everywhere, and a lot of different option parts. So the nice thing about this is that if you have just the regular Standard Graze, you can use some parts on here, and then you can use some other option parts on your Standard Graze as well. So if you have both of them, you can kind of customize both of these to how you might want them. So that is a really, really cool thing about this. With this kit, you can pretty much make the regular Standard Graze, the full regular Standard Graze, except for the backpack parts. So I'll mention that here a little bit when we talk about the accessories. So that's a cool thing about it too. So you can, pretty much make that whole Standard Graze if you want. I don't really know why you would want to do that. If you're getting this kit, you would just get the regular kit. It's cheaper. This one is a little bit more expensive, but of course this is because you get a lot of extra stuff. So let's take a look at the articulation. I've covered this before in the review of the regular Graze, but we'll just mention this here a little bit. The head, one thing that I dislike about this kit with the regular and the Schwab Graze, the head is really wobbly, as you'll see it like jiggling on there. That's not like with the camera, that's with the head. So when you're kind of trying to move it, it's just like kind of really loose on there. But it'll go up about like that, down. It does open up as well there. So this is a sticker on that piece. That's a yellow piece, but then we have just this piece which will just make it's basically yellow in the middle and then black around the outside just to cover up some black around the edges of that. So we have that here in the chest. This piece is better than the chest piece we have for the original Graze because this piece has again, these parts here on the side of the chest really don't have any particular set place where they're supposed to be, where they plug in. But this chest piece has a small indentation there, which you'll be able to press these up against there, and then you know exactly where those parts are supposed to go. So that's one thing that's also fixed with this kit. Shoulders are going to be able to move like that, and this side of the chest part moves like that. It's all pretty much very similar to the high grade. The high grade has fantastic articulation, and this is basically everything like that does as well. Arms are going to go up only to about there, just because the shoulder armor does move like that, but you just can't really move this any farther up because it's attached via that ball joint that you can see there. The shoulder armor, for switching the shoulder armor, is really simple because you just slide this off here like that. So that one was a little bit tough. I guess you don't want it to be too loose. Anyway, rotation there in the arm. We got a bend here that's going to give you more than 90 degrees. So nice bend there. The wrist is just on a ball joint. One thing that is not very nice about these kits is the hand options. We just have the regular hands and then the open hands, which I'll show you in a moment, which are not really great. We have some bend here in the midsection. It is a base. There's a ball joint at the base, but you're not really going to get a whole lot of movement of that except for just rotation. So most of the movement is going to be from like at the base of the chest there in the back where we have that hinge. The pistons in the side do move, but not really a whole lot. So not really going to be too much really to see there with those pistons. The backpack here Obviously this part can go up and down. Underside is just hollow, so you might not want to have it too far up or you're going to be just exposing that big hollow piece, unless you don't mind that. So just kind of down or like a little bit out will be the better. As you can see, this thruster bell here on the end can also sort of move, but not really anything too special. Anyways, the front skirts can move up and down individually, the side skirts can move up and down individually, the legs can rotate there at the top, get a nice double joint here in the knee where that armor is going to separate, so you get a really nice full bend there at the knee with this knee armor there separating. Straighten this back out. We can see here on the back of the leg, this part once again lifts up like that. The ankle joint is also once again quite nice. We get a really nice far bend out of that ankle joint if you want. This front piece does move a little bit, but not really a whole lot. Ankles will go forward about like that, back about like that. Really do wish that they made this piece jointed there at the middle so you could close this up here. But we can't. So that's about the articulation, and as you can see, also a lot of really nice details there pretty much everywhere. Nothing really in terms of stickers and all that except for the eyes. And that's really the only stickers that are going to be on this kit, so that is pretty nice. Now let's talk about option parts, because that's what we have a whole lot of. So let me just talk about some of the standard Graze parts that we have. We have all of the parts to make just the standard Graze head here, and you also do still have the option of making the standard or the commander type head, so you can make that head if you want, and that's like including everything, including the yellow piece there for that head. The hand options, as I mentioned, we do have a pair of open hands, which again are pretty expressionless, unfortunately, but the details are kind of nice, not too bad anyway. Here's just the regular standard Graze chest piece, and as I said, I don't like this because there's nothing here to stop those pieces that rotate on the front that are kind of not really supposed to rotate. The other stickers, I almost forgot to mention, this is one of the things I hate about this kit. Those yellow pieces there, a gray around the edge of that's a gray sticker. I really think it should have been the other way around, like the high grade, a gray piece with a yellow sticker, I think would have been much better. But unfortunately they decided to do it like that for this particular kit. The standard Graze shoulder armor is here. Now again, this one you'll just be able to put on there very easily. If you want to just put this on, or you can just save this and give it to your Barbatos. If you wanted to make the Barbatos form, I believe it was form 3 that uses this shoulder armor, so you have these parts just kind of left over if you don't want to do anything with that. We have the standard Graze axe. Again, nothing new here. It has a peg for plugging onto the side skirt there, and then pegs in the handle for plugging into either the left or the right hand. That's pretty nice. We have the Graze rifle, another thing that is not new, with a sticker there for the camera at the front. Front handle is able to move side to side. In order to put this in the hand, I kind of get annoyed that you have to take this all like totally apart. You have to take like all these parts off. You have to put the hand around there, put these side parts back on, then put the hand onto the kit, then put this last part on that plugs there, and then this back peg of that plugs into the forearm of the kit. So it's kind of complicated. We do also have the option, if you want, to take off that, and you can just have the short version, just the short barrel, which is just like that, if you want to do that. So that's kind of nice too that we have that option. Again, it's just like one small little tiny piece. Now let's get to some of the new, more exciting stuff. So for the backpack, let's take a look at this part first here. This is our alternate backpack for making the ground type. Really cool, just really simple backpack here with this big long sword. Really love the design of this sword. I really do quite like it a lot. This latch just lifts up on the top, this bottom part folds down, and you can take that. There's nothing really holding this in place, so it can be just really kind of like anywhere you want it in there. You just kind of, I think it's just kind of supposed to be in the center. So on the backpack, if you did want to make this, you're going to just put this on here like that. That's what the backpack is going to look like on there. And the sword, again, just has pegs in the handle to plug in either the left or the right side. So really like that quite a bit. For the legs, for making the ground type, we have alternate thigh armor, which is also really quite nice. It has these kind of side boosters here, which are just on some really simple ball joints. So they're going to move around a little bit, mostly just rotating on there. To change these out, these do have a left and a right side, obviously. So you're just going to have to pop off this front thigh piece, pop on this new piece. There we go. Will be like that. So this is molded in that darker green. And you've got that thigh piece in this thing you can rotate there on the side if you want. So again, that looks pretty cool. And I'll give you guys a look at all of this stuff again more here in just a moment. Then we do have alternate feet as well for the ground type. I really love these feet, and I think a lot of people do too. They're much more interesting feet than, I mean, the regular Graze feet are interesting, but these are kind of even more interesting. We have this gray piece there on the bottom, so a nice color separation there if you're not going to be painting. Just overall, really cool looking feet. I think they're much more just kind of normal looking feet in a way, even though they have that round kind of like hover thing going on there. But those are just going to pop on. Just swap those off like that, so don't have to like take apart any feet. You have everything you need for both of those parts there, there, and there. So that's all really nice. But then we do have more option parts. We have the option shoulder parts here as well. And in the unboxing, I was a little bit uncertain at first if we were going to have both left and right side. But yeah, we do definitely have both, as I discovered just looking at the runners. So these are just going to just slide on. So again, this shoulder armor here, you just slide that off, and then take this one and just slide it on, and that's it. So unfortunately, we have this kind of peg here. Now, really, the only thing that I think this kit is missing is the Graze shield. I think it would have been cool if this was including the Graze shield that was included in the high grade option part set. This one unfortunately doesn't have that, but we do have the bazooka, which you can plug onto there. So here's the very nice bazooka. This front handle can rotate around, and it can also, the handle can also fold out. Now there's no pegs on that handle, it's just a flat handle there. This main handle though does have pegs on there for holding it in the hand if you want. That one is just going to rotate back and forth. This one is just going to plug onto here, onto the top of the shoulder like this. Now of course you can have that forward and held in the hand, or you can just have it back and just sort of, and this whole peg is just on a track that slides forward and back, so you can just have that back over the shoulder like so, which I think is also really cool. So that is a really, really great thing as well. So there's a lot of different options here. Obviously you can see that you can do with this, and then like again, anything that you don't use for this kit, you can give it to your standard Graze or whatever. So let's just take a look at some comparison here. So yeah, here's going to be a comparison with the Graze Custom outfitted with all of the ground type Graze equipment on there. So again, this here is everything that is included with this kit. So I didn't use anything from any other kits to make that. That's all included with that to make that ground type Graze. And here's just the standard Graze. I think it's a really cool difference between the two. It definitely looks like the ground type Graze. I mean, it's just a different type, but I think it looks more like the standard Graze is like a just kind of standard kind of soldier looking suit, and the ground type Graze definitely has a much more heavier look with the larger feet and larger thighs, stuff going on there, that big sword on the back pad. It definitely has a little bit more of like an elite look to it, which I think is really, really cool. Now, as much as I really like the look of this ground type Graze, and I just really, really love those new thighs and new feet, just looks really awesome, and I really like that sword. But just trying to pose it, and this is not really to do too much with the ground type, but just with this kit in general, and it was the same thing that I had a problem with the original kit, and I didn't mention before, but I am just realizing it now again very strongly as I was trying to pose this kit, is that the head, it's just really finicky the way the parts fit together. It's almost impossible to get like the top and bottom part to actually close tightly, so it's like kind of always kind of loose, and like the articulation, trying to move the head up too far, and that whole head just kind of falls apart. And the part of armor like just behind the head, on top of the torso behind the head, is quite loose the way that's plugged in, so when you push the head back, it's going to push that armor piece up and off. You're going to have to glue it down onto the kit if you want it to just stay there and not move when you try to move the head. So just a couple of parts there, as well as those two like kind of parts on the side of the front of the chest that I just don't really care for, and just parts that just don't really work very well with this kit in general. And then just here to give you a side-by-side look of the standard Graze with the Graze Custom. They're pretty much going to be looking very similar. Of course, those white parts are very striking. That's one thing that I really like about the Graze Kai or the Graze Custom, is those white parts really fit the look of it being just sort of a kind of very simply repaired, and it's very utilitarian in its look, which I really quite like. And I just like the angles of all of that a little bit more personally, in just terms of just a little bit more boxy look of the head, especially. I mean, the Standard Graze shoulders and chest piece are pretty angular as well, but the head is quite different. And although the rounded head does pay a little bit more tribute to like the standard Zaku, which I think this kit is very much based off of, sort of in a way. The just white head of the Graze Kai I think is just a little bit more interesting. It's much more like frame arms style, definitely. That's the one comparison a lot of people have made, and that's a very fair comparison to make just based on the design of that head. So all in all, the Graze Kai just here as it is, I think is a really cool version. And you know, if the kit would have only been this, you know, if the kit hadn't have included the extra feet and extra thigh armor to make, and the extra backpack to make the ground type, I think it still would have been a cool kit, you know, just this and the different shoulder armor, because that's kind of the stuff that we had in the high grade version as well. But to include, you know, the extra stuff for the ground type, which was not included in any version in the high grade, I think is what really takes this kit from being good to really great, I think, at least in my eyes. Now I do just once again want to reiterate that I think it is a little bit of a shame that we do have both of those new big shoulder armor pieces, but we have the bazooka to put on one side but nothing to put on the other side. Now I don't know if maybe in future kits we may get a Graze shield, or I don't know. I think really kind of your best bet, if you really wanted to use both, to have something actually on there, would be to buy 2 of this kit and use 2 bazookas. Maybe, I don't know, there's enough different combinations that, I mean, buying 2 of this kit would give you a lot of different options. But I do really quite like how with the 1/100 scale, the legs are a little bit more bulky than with the high grade, and then with those big bulky shoulders as well, it definitely gives quite a unique look to the Graze, with it just being, you know, much more bulked out than the high grade version. So to wrap up this review, I'll just give you what is basically sort of a hybrid of the Graze Kai and the ground type Graze, just because, I mean, it's really hard to decide on kind of what different options I want to use for mine. I think this is like the combination that I like the best, because I really love those ground type legs, but then I also like this setup with the Graze Kai, with it just being one shoulder the big one and one shoulder the normal Graze Kai. I mean, it doesn't have to be canon. You can make it however you want, right? This is not actually true to the series, but, you know, who cares, right? So that is going to be pretty much it for this review. Obviously, there was a lot of different options, stuff to look at with this kit. Very highly recommended. If you haven't got a 1/100 scale Graze kit, I would just recommend getting this one, unless you really want the standard or commander type backpack. That's the only thing that you don't have with this kit from just getting this regular standard Graze. So I would recommend this. I would recommend the Grimgird, and those would probably be the 2 best kits in Ironblood Orphans 100 scale line, if you ask me. Others are of course good. If you like really love the design of the Kimaris or something, then of course that is a perfectly fine kit as well. But I think if you're just looking for, like, what I think is like the best bang for your buck, just best overall look and quality in terms of different options and things that you get, I think those 2 that I mentioned, this one and the Grimgird, are probably the best. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you do have any other questions or comments, do feel free to leave those down below. And otherwise, I'll see you guys later. So, bye-bye.